Welcome back, everybody. Last episode we got up to 495 LP Master. Shortly after, we jumped into this one, where we're playing Renata top lane. Our goal is to abuse our PTA and range on these melee top laners, so any chance we get, we're playing hyper aggressive during the early laning phase. Obviously, if you play hyper aggressive, you're going to get punished by the enemy jungler. In this case, we managed to survive. When you pick Renata top, you're expecting to be 2v1 in the top lane. Hopefully, they tower dive and you use your Renata W to make a positive trade. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter if it works or doesn't, as long as you're taking jungle attention to the top lane, allowing your team to free farm and get ahead. That's what you're looking to achieve here. We do end up getting killed by the Graves. I wasn't expecting him to come from the top side, considering literally I had already cleared it all, but that's literally the effect of Renata top. It's drawing the jungler to the top lane. I know this sounds like a load of bullshit, but if I told you the win rate, you wouldn't even believe it. And it's just one of those things where if you know which team comp to pick it into, then it is a great pocket pick. We've skipped to 18 minutes in this game. The only thing we need to do is make sure that Jax doesn't take control in the side lane. We don't want him splitting to win. And our team is so far ahead that they're able to just clean up the Baron at 20 minutes as soon as it spawns. The scoreline is now 6-23. There's a lot of gold on the Lilia and also on the Kaiser. They get a little bit too confident and end up getting caught in the enemy jungle. This, however, doesn't stop the Lilia from going in 1v4, which means we have to go and back her up. And yes, from my perspective, that was the most intense part of this game. We didn't really do too much. We just allowed our team to succeed while we did our job. We did take this final team fight, which the enemy team ended up winning. They got a favorable fight, but it really didn't matter. We're so far ahead that we just end up going and getting the Baron again. And with that, we're able to easily close out the game the second time. So we gain some more LP. We've now officially broken the 500 LP mark. We're on 501 heading into the next game where we're playing Sion in the top lane. You may have noticed that we have skipped 2 minutes into this game. Nothing happened, of course. This matchup is very one-sided. Renekton has pressure until level 9, which means we just let him push the wave in and we survive as best as we can. This exchange happens where Renekton has the potential to dive here, but he decides to walk away. This allows us to reach level 6, and once we get level 6, we recall, we have teleport, our ultimate. You could probably predict where we're going. We're definitely not going to the top lane. I'm trying to make you understand why and when we do this play. I'm doing it into matchups where I generally can't win or it's a stale lane. There's no point in me staying in the top lane if I can use my ult and teleport to potentially get my bot lane significantly ahead. Now that it worked, we can just chill in the top lane. There's no pressure on us to try and make any play. All that pressure is now on the Renekton, which is why he's playing so damn aggressive. It's also worth noting that we risk very little by going bot lane. If you sync up the play with your wave and your teleport, you should lose minimal farm, and worst case scenario is you just don't get a kill in the bot lane. You're at least going to get some summoner spells, so you're always helping, or at least trying to. Either way, this game, it was very profitable for us. We're now skipping into the future, 17 minutes. We're almost matching the clock. Our bot lane is very far ahead, but they end up dying to the Fizz in the top lane. So what we do is we push forward to try and create some pressure on the other side of the map. That way the enemy can't keep pushing for our tier 2. We want them always chasing us. We don't want to be the ones chasing them. In situations like this, it very much is a coin flip, but our job is to start these fights. It does work out, and the reason I left this clip in here for you is to show you, look at where I placed the Sion passive. I put it right next to the tower because you can actually pick up local gold as long as your body's there. I would say most of this game, I would just forfeit the lane to the Renekton. That's the playstyle we've been going for, and it really paid off in this situation. We're now ready to fight the Renekton. They really couldn't even take me 2v1. Pantheon ends up showing up and helping us, but what was crucial is the fact that Rengar actually used his ultimate to escape. I teleport top to handle this wave, and during that teleport, the Rengar is killed by the Pantheon, which gives us another 20-minute Baron, just like the last game. We made that teleport play and immediately tried to use our Demolish to burst the tower down before the minion debuff kicked in. No one else backed it up, which means we lost a bunch of health for nothing. Fortunately, that Kaiser put us on her back. We get the LP, and now we're promoted to Grandmaster. We gained 20 LP, we're sitting at 521 LP overall. This leads us into game number 3, where we're playing Sion support. I focused heavily this game on pushing the wave in. I don't want the situation where we're up against a Caitlyn and a Lux who has a level advantage shooting at us under the tower. We need to push forward and take the fight to them in these early levels. Tempo is extremely important, and it's our job, our main focus. It's to get some summoner spells early in this laning phase so that we can take advantage of the Hex Slash. Even though we did manage to get that early lead, we played it perfectly, it is still a difficult lane, and you can see exactly why we wanted to push that wave in. They have such easy kill potential when it comes to the traps and the Q on the Lux. It really doesn't help us at all that Sion is a very, very chunky champion, but what we do have going for us is we've burnt their summoner spells, we have that Hex Flash, and of course if we land any spell, it's going to be very easy for us to follow it up now. Keeping my shield alive here is crucial to securing these kills. The W deals a significant amount of damage. We've been playing a pretty flawless game so far, but we do get caught by our first Lux burning, which immediately results in us dying and handing over a double buff. We're almost level 6, and what I want to do with this is hide myself in the brush. I don't want to give the enemy any free information that might give us an advantage. If I hide in the brush and don't reveal that I'm 6, it's likely we can catch them off guard, which is exactly what we do. These are small little things that anyone could do. Overall, this Jhin and I worked extremely well together. He was very good at timing and holding his skill shots to sync up with Sion's abilities. Whenever we landed our E, he would follow it up with his stun. Things are moving very quickly this game. We've destroyed bot so hard that it's 13 minutes and we're ready to take the top lane. There are still some platings up here, and that's what we were heading to before we ran into this Gnar. Fast forwarding 6 minutes into the future, we are trying to help this Talon who's been caught in the side lane, and it gets our team into a bit of trouble. push our lead as hard as we could. As soon as there was an opportunity to take this Baron, that is exactly what we did. Up until this point, our team, for the most part, had been very cohesive and everyone's just working together really well. There's no one letting us down. There's no weak player. So it does look like we're going to be able to just run through the base and clean up the enemy team. For the next 4 minutes, this trend, it continued. We opened the top inhibitor as well, so we've now got the mid inhib and the top inhib, both of them open, and we're looking to close this game out. This was supposed to be our final team fight, but somehow the enemy team managed to just pull it through and they secure an ace onto our team, which then gets them the Baron, and now all of a sudden, they're in this game too. This is exactly what you don't want to see. The main reason it's so bad is because we're not actually playing these team fights that poorly. Sure, it's not perfect, but we shouldn't be losing them this hard. The fact that we're losing the team fights with our lead means that we're getting outscaled, and that's the last thing you want to figure out when you had this massive lead. So the only way to get around it is to start split pushing. On our way to safety, disaster strikes and we hit the fallen tower, and this gets us killed and it potentially sets us up to lose this game. Oh my goodness, I would have been absolutely fuming if we lost this game. So we ended up running it straight into the enemy base and securing our LP. We're now up to 541 LP Grandmaster. If there's one thing I know for sure, Sion support is nothing like Sion top. It is just action, action, action. It never stops. And that's exactly what I love so much about it. For better or for worse, you're just constantly going all in. And in this case, it worked out greatly for the bot lane. We end up getting a first tower very quickly into this game. It's now 14 minutes and we're still keeping up the ham. Nothing's changed. I will admit, in this situation, we've gone slightly too far. We should have rotated mid. Instead, we both end up dying and handing back some crucial gold to the enemy ADC. I was trying to block the shot to protect the ADC because technically it's my fault. I engaged that. He doesn't deserve to die. But sometimes you just get dealt a shitty hand. And in this case, the Sion support. You can see just how powerful we are. We're sitting on so much gold, probably more than the enemy top laner. We're level 9, but we're very, very tanky. We can just walk forward and completely zone out whoever we want. Even though we did hand over a couple of kills to the enemy bot lane, overall we won that bot lane quite convincingly. But the score, it's still very even. We're actually behind the enemy team, and the reason that is because our top lane and mid lane was handing over gold like nobody's business. Every single gank the enemy jungler did, it was a success, and they were just losing their mind trying to forfeit the game. This included a lot of whining that we cut out. It's now 20 minutes into the game. This is our second team fight, and a full-on 5v5 breaks out over a wolf camp. The Lilia is holding a lot of the enemy's gold, and she isn't willing to let the camp go, so it ends up breaking into a full 5v5 brawl, which our team is actually once again successful in the team fight. This allows us to take a crack at the Baron buff. I've shown you guys this trick before on a previous episode, but we're going to show it once again. Instead of pathing to the bot lane like a normal sane person would do, I path into jungle territory on their side of the wall. This forces them to react, and it allows our team to get cheap shots off onto the enemy because there's a fog of war disadvantage for the enemy team. We use it to open up the base, we go through the tower and get the inhibitor. And just like that, all the gold that we managed to get onto our ADC is worthwhile. He does what ADCs do best, and that is carry. He carried us to Grandmaster 561 LP heading into the next game. And let's just put it this way, I think I was high as a kite on gaining too much LP. I'd probably been playing for a lot of hours. I'm spectating what's going on in the enemy jungle, not realizing that I've just walked straight into the enemy bot lane, and the amount of time it takes before I respond is not pretty. I think they must have thought I was baiting them just because I was doing something so goddamn stupid. And this allows the enemy team to get full lane pressure because we were so low HP. A bit of a whoopsies if you ask me. It also has continuing consequences because our LeBlanc invaded the Vi. I do see an opportunity here to go and mess with the Vi though. She's got no flash from the early engage and she's low HP from the LeBlanc. Absolutely wasted potential if you ask me. The Q is a bit unlucky on the Nami, but the double jungle Sion on me is fuming that we didn't take that camp on the way out. Either way, this results in the enemy bot lane once again getting pressure off of one of our plays, but it does open up an opportunity for our jungler to come and gank them because they're pushing towards our tower. Once again, we have made a mistake and given the enemy team another kill for no reason at all. I've now come to the realization that there is nothing I can do to fix this bot lane. It's entirely my fault, and the best course of action for us is to actually start roaming and try target the Vi. The Vi is still behind our jungles. This allows us to get an edge somewhere on this map. If we stay in the bot lane, all we're doing is continuing to hand over gold, or at least that's the experience we've had so far. You know what they say, if something isn't working, then why not try something else? With that roam, we finally saw something go in our favor. The Kaiser picks up a kill, our jungler picks up a kill, and now we have a taste for this Vi's blood, so we continue to hunt her, and she's not too happy about that. You can see by the way that she goes for us in the river. Now that things are looking a little bit better, the Kaiser picked up that kill. I try focusing on shutting down the Lucian. I cheese him by sitting in the bush. I was in there for a decent amount of time. This allows the Kaiser to use her ultimate and clean up this kill onto Lucian. And from here, we get some platings and we continue the snowball. This Lucian, who was once significantly ahead, is dying over and over on repeat to us. This is exactly what we want to see. I feel like this is a really good example of taking each game separately and playing it according to what you think will win you ELO. I didn't think sitting in the lane was going to be beneficial for us, so I started roaming, and then once we get that gold flowing, I'm happy to come back to the lane. Obviously, with this example, I was the reason the bot lane was doing shit, so I may as well just pack it up and go try somewhere else. The game very quickly went from relatively even to dramatically in our favor. The Lucian comes back to lane for the 4th time in a row, and he dies instantly. He knew I was in there. He was checking for it. He's thinking, surely he's not waiting for me. Yes, I was. We're going for the same exact play for him, but the clock had hit 15 and the enemy team has surrendered. We pick up 20 more LP. We're at 581 LP, pushing towards Challenger.
Y'all ain't on this level, bitches, Tilterella. Y'all can never beat them like an acapella. If you wanna laugh or cry, had like any time, then click the red sign and go and subscribe.